everyone, and welcome to our second episode of Can We Talk About It? We're going to be exploring emotional access. We have all been in a relationship where we have been hurt, disrespected, manipulated, disappointment, angry, humiliated, and discombobulated. But do you know why you experience one or more of these emotions? Well, it's because we have given others the three main ingredients they need to use against us: trust, access, and control. The first element we give others is trust. Trust is hope or an expectation of another person. We expect and hope that the person we trust will do right by us and not take advantage of us, especially if we're in a vulnerable situation. And oftentimes we put our trust in the wrong person and we find ourselves living with regret, disappointment, shame, and because we have allowed someone we trust to manipulate us. As the old people can say, we have allowed somebody to make a fool out of us. However, that brings us to our second element, which is access. Someone, it's easy to give them access to your emotions without even realizing it or thinking about it. Why? Because that trust has been put in place. And we let them into our lives, but mainly into our hearts. Access is a point of entry, whether it's physically or spiritually. You are allowing someone access come into your personal or private space because why? You trust them. So once they have attained access, and now they have the third element, which is control. Control is defined as the power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. Have you ever witnessed people who can just speak certain words and people just fall at their feet, or someone is a certain way and people can speak and then that behavior stops? I mean, it's like they can redirect a person's mind, their thought pattern. That's control. And so what this means is that now giving others your trust to access and control your emotions based on your relationship with that person, whether it be personal, physical, or professional. Every relationship carries some level of trust. The more you trust a person, the more access you give them, and the more power they take. But when you bring the three elements together, access and control, they form the most powerful weapon that we possess, that we unknowingly hand over to others. Is a key. A key is a small metal instrument used to gain access to a locked area. This is its physical meaning. When you put a key in a lock, it unlocks a door or a mechanism, and you are granted access to enter in. And once you enter in, you have access to what is inside of that room or that building or that space. And once you have access, now you have control of what you do once you're there. So, in the spiritual setting, from an emotional standpoint, is defined emotional access. And emotional access affects the heart. My son said something years ago that I will never forget. And this podcast is dedicated him, his name is Damien. I was upset or something that some said to me or something someone did to me. I cannot remember which. But this is what he said to me. He said, Mom, stop giving people access to your emotions. I said, What do you mean? He said, I refuse to let people make me feel any emotion that I do not want to feel. He said, If I laugh, it's because I want to laugh, not because someone made me. If I cry, it's because I want to cry, not because someone made me. And if I'm angry, it's because I'm angry at something and not because somebody made me angry. That conversation has always resonated in my spirit. And at that moment, I began to realize that I am in control of my emotions. I have the key to my emotions in my hand and in my heart. And if I choose to open up my world and let someone in, I'm going to put limitations on how far I will let them go, how far I will let them come into my space. I'm going to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I trust you as long as I can see you. I'm going to trust you to a certain extent. I'm not going to trust you 100% because I don't know what your intentions are. You're going to have to show me that you mean me some good. You're just going to have to show me that I can trust you by the things that you do or the things that you don't do. And it's hard to do because we unknowingly trust people. We do. We unknowingly just trust people on their word or what they say. And sometimes people can manipulate you emotionally because they can act a certain way around you just into your space so they can do what they want to do once they get there. But we have to be so careful who we give the because it's hard to take back the key giving it out, especially if emotions are involved. So hold on to your key until you're sure that you can trust the person that you're giving it to. Jeremiah 17:9, the King James Version states, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And that's so true. You don't know the contents of a person's plan they have devised or really up to. You just don't know because it's a heart issue. It's a HEART issue. If it's not in a right, they're not going to do right. You're going to have to use your best judgment when it comes to who you can trust, who you're going to give access to your emotions to, and who you're going to allow to control your key. So if you find this content and this podcast helpful, inspirational, and informative, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a comment. I would love to hear from you. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Don't access denied.